Just like 3 years ago, almost to the day, I'm going up Mokodake here. Steep on both sides here, but not too slippery. Hi, this is Quinlan, and it was just about exactly 3 years ago that I started Go North Japan. In fact, my first 2 videos that I published to this channel in April of 2019 were right where I am now, the Hachimantai Aspite Line and Mount Moko. The Hachimantai Aspite Line first opened to the general public as a normal road in around 1992. The word Aspite is apparently based off of a German word which refers to shields or a shield volcano. This Hachimantai Aspite Line connects Iwate and Akita prefectures. It goes straight across the Towada Hachimantai National Park and right near the summits up here, and so it's really popular while it's open. But because of the high amount of snow, it's only traversable between April and November. On April 15th, they plow it and have this famous corridor of snow, which is known as the longest corridor of snow in Japan. It's usually around 27 kilometers, they say, this snow corridor, and at the highest points, it's usually around 8 meters. You can come up to a parking lot on the top, park your car, hike up to this mountain where I am right now, Mount Moko, or just walk around the summit of the Hachimantai area, and then in June, it becomes popular again for the recently famous Hachimantai Dragon Eye. So I've been talking about the Hachimantai Aspite line up here, but there's actually another line that goes up from Matsukawa Hot Springs and meets around the summit of Hachimantai and joins the Hachimantai Aspite line. And the Jukai line is actually where I'm standing right now. It generally opens a couple weeks after the Aspite line opens, which means that no cars can go on it. So for example, right now, no cars can be on this road. So I can stand here in the middle of this road and film, but on the Aspite line, I have to worry about traffic. So what I recommend you do if you park at the main parking lot there near the top of the Hachimantai Aspite line in late April is to just walk about 1 kilometer or 2 down the Jukai line, and there you can reach Mount Moko, which is this beautiful little mountain, and it's not as crowded. There's usually a few people hiking up there, but not many. You can just walk up to the top, there's great views, and there's also a hot springs a little bit farther called Toshichi Onsen. And Toshichi Onsen is opened around the same time this road opened, so it's closed now, but the outdoor baths, which are called rotemburo in Japanese, are available and they're still nice. And so if you don't mind, no facilities, so you could use a bathing suit if you want, because it's a no rules situation, but you can bathe in their outdoor hot springs while they're closed, while they're outside. And so I haven't done that yet. In fact, I just this year learned that that was even possible, but maybe next year I'll show you that in person. Walking up the road, I can see these are called butterbur in English, or fukinoto. These are popular and can be eaten in a number of ways. You can chop them up and make sort of miso paste with them. You can make tempura with them. And then when they grow bigger later in the year, there's other ways to prepare them. So since I'm talking about butterbur or fukinoto, I should mention that 2 days ago, I actually went foraging with my good friend Haruo-san. And we didn't get that much 2 days ago, because it's still pretty early. But we did pick a few fiddleheads, called kogomi in Japanese, and I didn't make a full video of that day, but I was reminded of how beautiful Haruo-san's local dialect, his local accent, his way of speaking is. And so let me just share with you a couple of little tidbits of his local dialect from 2 days ago.
ねとかだとかでこう意味が多少変わってくるんだよね。んだなすとかんだねとかって同じ考えだよってんだなすって。
じゃあ逆にちょっと違うと思うなっていうニュアンスは。
んだね。
んだねは違うっていう意味。
そう、んだね。
でもそうだねと言ってるんじゃない。
違うんだね。違う。んだねはそうだねよ。んだねっていうのとんだねっていうのと違うと思うんだね。
I love just the rhythm, the sing-songiness, the intonation of the Iwate dialect, and Haruo-san's accent is fantastic. I want to mention that from 2023 and onwards, me and Haruo-san will be leading guided tours for foraging wild vegetables. And we are devising some safe and relatively simple tours which will combine meeting early in the morning, going foraging together, walking out in the mountains, learning about some of the history and culture around the wild vegetables, and then later in the afternoon going to a rustic hot springs and using an open kitchen that they have there in the Tojiba area to learn how to prepare and cook and then eat these foods all together. And so if you're thinking of visiting Japan sometime in late April to May, even through early June potentially, then from 2023 onwards, hit me up, and if I haven't already then advertised and posted on my website, you can contact me directly and we can see if your schedule works to join one of these foraging tours that we're designing right now. I think one of the best things about visiting Iwate in late April is that you can both see the sakura, the cherry blossoms, in full bloom up here after they've already all fallen and dispersed in Tokyo and the rest of Japan. You see the beautiful cherry blossoms, and then on the same day, you can drive or take a bus up here to the summit area of Hachimantai on the Aspite Line and have this like 7-meter towering corridor of snow on either side of you and walk around on 5 meters or 7 meters of snow and have that landscape spread out before you as well. So you can get both the cherry blossoms and a taste of that spring lingering snow. I don't think there's that many places in the world where you can see just lines of blooming pink and white flowers and towering meters and meters of mountains of snow all on the same day. So if you want to do that, I recommend late April. The Aspite Line technically opens on April 15th every year, but because of weather, sometimes it'll be closed in those first days. So the 15th, 16th, 17th of April, often, even though it's technically supposed to be open, it could be closed for bad weather that day. And so you're safer waiting till after the 20th of April probably. And that's generally the time when the cherry blossoms are in full bloom anyways. And so if you want to do both those things and visit Iwate for your trip next year, the year after, that is one excellent time to do it. In another month or two, these lakes that you can see here are going to start melting, and the blue colors and the contrast between the water and the snow is just stunning. We're not there yet, but that's what we have to look forward to over the next month. When you come right off the road, to the right-hand side, if you're facing Akita, you come right up onto this normal trail, which heads toward the summit of Mount Hachimantai, as it were, though it's being a shield volcano, as I mentioned, it's not much of a summit. It's more of a plateau. But you can see that there's a walk you can take through the snow. Even in May and in June, you'll be walking largely on top of snow up here. And they've got bamboo poles set up here, which lead the way towards the main routes, which will go around a few lakes and to the summit area. And in June, these will lead the way straight to the Dragon Eye, which is usually viewable around June 9th or 10th or so, usually around that second week of June. As you can see, the snow is actually pretty hard packed. In that first video I made 3 years ago, I kept mentioning and lamenting that I wasn't wearing snowshoes. But most years in late April to early May, you won't need snowshoes. The snow's pretty hard packed. I mean, sometimes you do sink in fairly deep, but generally speaking, you're okay with normal snow boots, though I recommend wearing gaiters if you have them. These being gaiters, those things that keep the snow from going in over your boots. Look at that, Mount Iwate looking glorious. And over here you can see Mount Mokko, where I was just talking to you a moment ago. If you visit the Hachimantai Aspite Line in late April, like I'm recommending, the weather really varies. Sometimes even on the summit up here, it could be as warm as 15 degrees. Other times, like today, it'll be about 0. And so, yeah, just check the weather and dress appropriately in advance. For footwear, you need snow boots, but you don't need anything really hardcore. You don't need snowshoes necessarily because it's mostly a level area and it's mostly hard packed snow. If you happen to have ski poles, they can be handy for helping you not to slip, but they're not necessary. Even if you don't feel like tromping around on the snow up here, a lot of people just drive up just to experience driving down that snow corridor, because it is pretty neat to see, even if you're not going to take a little snow hike. And so after you've gotten your fill of cherry blossoms down in town, you can zip up into this surreal corridor of snow. Maybe just step out of the parking lot, take some picture standing next to the snow wall, and then zip back down. I think it is great for any short trip up here to North Japan in Iwate. I should mention that I've actually been not feeling well recently. I've been pretty sick for the last 2.5 weeks. I won't bore you with the details, and according to a couple of PCR tests, it wasn't COVID, but regardless, I was pretty miserable. I had a fever of 39.6, which is 103.28 or something like that Fahrenheit. Anyways, I've been down for the count, and even though for the last week or so I've been technically better, I'm still just feeling weak, unmotivated, just kind of down, really. And so it's been hard for me to make videos. I've tried a couple of times to get in front of the camera and make videos showing my house with the foraging a couple days ago, but I just couldn't get my energy level high enough to do it. And I felt like I was just sort of in front of the camera, and I was just kind of like, yeah, this is it. And why would anyone want to watch this? Blah. And so it was, yeah, I gave up on making the videos. I'm feeling a little bit better today. Being out in this clear mountain air is helping, but I'm still not quite myself. And so thank you for your patience as I slowly get back up to speed and hopefully recover all of my strength and can get back to showing you things in the normal, enthusiastic way that I would like to. All right, time for me to start heading back down. The Aspite Line during this season in April closes usually around 5 or 5:30 p.m., so you can't stay up here that late. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the trails.